And I always say, wait, don't do that. Let's look at your numbers first, because maybe we need to push and work a little bit harder for 1, 2, or 3 years. And then you can sell it and you can maybe get a higher multiplier for your business. And that sometimes that's attractive. And they're like, oh, if I work harder for 3 years, I can double what I could sell this for. And I say, yes, that's quite possible, that if you put a few things in place, then you could actually sell that for a lot more.
Welcome to the Expert in You podcast, the show for professional entrepreneurs, experts, authors, speakers, coaches, and consultants who are ready to elevate their business, expand their influence, and boost their bank accounts. Join us as we dive deep with industry-leading experts who share their top strategies, invaluable insights, practical tips, and personal experiences to help you achieve extraordinary growth and success. Whether you're looking to sharpen your skills, stay ahead of the curve, or find that competitive edge, this podcast is your ultimate resource for unlocking your full potential. So tune in, get inspired, grab your coffee, and let's unlock the expert in you. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Expert in You podcast. I'm your host, Ann Carden, and I'm really excited for my guest this week because she's local to me. She's actually in my area, maybe an hour from me, but I consider that local. When I think about the people that I talk to all over the world, that is local, right? So I have Samantha Newman with me today. She is running a marketing agency. She's a marketing consultant. She is a social media guru. She's a podcast host, and she's also a business broker. And so we are going to figure out how the business broker thing comes in to her other business. But Samantha, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. So why don't you just tell everyone a little bit about who you serve, what you sell, and then we can go into more of your story and your journey.
Sure. So I love helping small to medium-sized businesses. I came from the corporate world, so I'll tell a little bit of my story, but not a bunch. But I love working with contractors, with small law firms, anything that, maybe has under 50 employees, and whether it's service or product based, that doesn't matter, non-for-profits. I love seeing businesses grow and get to the next level. I work with startup businesses to get them off the ground. I work with, businesses that have been in business for 5 years or more to kind of help them rebrand from that initial startup stage, to make them look a little bit more competitive in their market. And then I also love working with businesses when they're getting to those last 5 to 10 years where they're getting ready to retire or pass it on to their children, to make sure that it's structured in the way that it needs to be to pass on or to get ready to sell, so that way they're getting what they have made a legacy out of into their retirement or their next business opportunity, whatever that reason for leaving that business might be.
So Samantha, when you're working with these small businesses, what is it you're actually selling them in your agency or as a consultant? What do you do?
So as a consultant, I went initially, for most small businesses, I'm helping them with their marketing and really figuring out what they need to do to get in front of more people, because you need visibility, you need credibility, and then of course you need profitability to stay in business. So getting them that extra visibility and the credibility that they need to be able to take it to the next step is the marketing consulting part. Now, when they're getting closer to retirement, there's some exit planning things that we put in place. And then we're looking at some more financial numbers and processes and, what does their overall schematics look like and what does their staffing look like? That's a little bit more in depth. And that's really for somebody that's preparing to either sell or retire and pass it on to their kids. But for most of the time, when I work with clients, it's really to figure out what marketing plans they need to be able to be successful.
So how did you get into the business broker side of things, going from the marketing side? How did that happen in your business? I think everything evolves sort of naturally usually, but.
Absolutely. So my marketing business was 20 years old in November of 2024. So that was a big celebration for us. And in 2018, I started as marketing director for a business brokerage in St. Louis, Missouri. And I was helping coordinate their website and stuff, their social media, their email blasts, and all those marketing things that they needed to be able to push stuff for that business. And the owner came to me and we talked about me becoming a broker. And at first I was like, no, I got a lot on my plate. Plus I'm doing all your marketing. So we got somebody else trained to do a lot of the day-to-day marketing for them. And I kind of transitioned over on the brokerage side because I was already training brokers on how to get new leads for themselves beyond the ones that our marketing team got for them. So it was a natural transition because half of the process I already knew because I was already training their brokers on how to get sales. So once I got the sales, I just had to learn the part of what do we do once we got it. So, and that for me, that was an easy transition. So.
Oh, very cool. So let's give some takeaways here. I always love for people to be able to walk away with something. How do brokers get more leads? What do you do with them? How do you help them do that?
So, I really, it's mainly about networking, getting to know people. I don't just like to know somebody. I like to get to know them really well. I like to learn more about them. And I think that's no different in any sales position that you have. You're going to have a better rapport with people if you actually get to know them. You learn their dog's name the next time you talk to them and you ask them how Fluffy's doing. Remember that they have kids or grandkids and ask them about that. So I really think that personal relationship takes you way further than just the everyday car salesman type salesperson. So, when you get those leads, I'm really good with follow-up. So I like to reach out to people. I like to make sure that I'm staying in constant contact with them if I can. And I think that's just really important. So I think that's probably one of my biggest takeaways on what to do with your leads is to just not forget about them, even if they weren't an immediate yes right away. I had a lady that called me earlier that I haven't talked to in 2 years, and now she wants to sell her business. So it's all about cultivating, just like a farmer. They may have different crops that run different better cycles on different parts of the year. So you're just learning, who your target market is and how figuring out what's best for them at the time that they need it.
Yeah. What type of businesses? So somebody called you. What type of business is that? And what are some of the businesses that are sold?
We have a plethora and a wide variety of businesses for sale. We have grocery stores, restaurants, breweries. We have manufacturing companies. We have a lot of contracting companies. We have educational companies. So there's a lot of service base. We've sold several brands, which people come up with their own brands for like hot sauces or different things like that we've sold, some names that, you've probably heard before, some restaurants that you've probably driven by or eaten in. A lot of those places are places that we've probably sold to new buyers.
Yeah. I love that you're talking about this. One of the things you said is, getting them ready for that sale. So I've sold 5 businesses myself that I started from the ground up and built those. And a lot of people don't realize that over 80% of businesses aren't even saleable. They don't realize that what they have might not even be something that can be sold, because a lot of people are working their businesses like a job, or they're not profitable, or they just don't have systems in place. There's so many different ways that businesses cannot be attractive to buyers, right?
Right.
So does that company offer like coaching with them, consulting?
Yeah, I do have
to get them ready.
I do have exit planning when you're, you have to almost be within 10 years because we don't like to draw anything out. I'm not trying to take somebody from start and say, we're going to work with you for 50 years and get ready to sell your business.
Right.
We want to do it within, a reasonable amount of time. Like most people come to us honestly when they're about 3 years out.
I was going to say usually a couple years. Yeah.
And I get a couple people that are like, I want to be out by August. And I'm like, it's July, guys.
Right.
It's not like selling a house. Most businesses take 6 to 18 months to sell. And that's matching up the buyer, getting everything ready for listing, and then actually going through if somebody needs to go through conventional loans or SBA process, which right now has a lot of red tape in it right now. So,
Yeah.
and it's just, that's the facts. And, there's a lot of information that people have to get together to sell their business, which I'm sure you've had to do in the past.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you're like, oh, I didn't know I needed a list of all my employees and their hours and, my vendors or, so all the things that you need that are part of your business. Some people have really good systems in place and they have it recorded. That would be the best thing that I would think. So your idea when you're trying to sell your business, you're trying to create a new you that's going to buy you out to be you. So what do you do in a day? Have you ever written those things down? And is all the knowledge that you have about your products and services, is that written down that you can pass that on? Because that's your business. That is your business. And if you don't have a hard copy of that to be able to pass on, then it's not as sellable of a business. If you're the only one doing it and you're the only one who knows, and you're the only one that knows the customers, you're the only one that knows the vendors, it's going to be a little harder to sell your business than if you have things and people and places and systems that it could run without you. If you can go on vacation for 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and your business can still run, you probably have a sellable business. And if you don't, I can help you figure out how to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. People don't want to buy a job either. So if the business is wrapped around you, it's not attractive. Anyone can start up a job. So they don't need to buy into something like that typically. And so that's a really important thing for people to know. I mean, that was one of the things that really helped me sell my businesses is they were very turnkey. Someone could just walk in and take them over and change whatever they wanted to change, but all the systems and everything, the employees, everything was in place. And so they didn't have to make changes. They could just walk in and take it over. Of course, that's not how people do things, right? They always want to put their own stamp on things, which is fine. But it makes the business very attractive when that's the situation. And it has to also be ease. One of the things that that was great for me when I sold my businesses is I really did have things running like a well-oiled machine. And I didn't have to stay in the businesses to even transition, which was really nice because I had key people in place. And we had everything in place that they really didn't need me. And that's such a good play. By the way, that's a great play to be in business and start thinking like that and even set that as a vision, because you can make a lot of money selling your business when you have something that's saleable. It can be a huge, for me, when I started doing that, it was all about, oh, this could be a retirement. So as I was investing money back into my business, I was already thinking about, I could sell this someday and this could be comparable to like a 401k or having some sort of investments or some asset that I'm selling here that could be part of my retirement plan. And so I started doing everything with that vision in mind. So every business then, that was the vision. But it's hard. A lot of people don't think like that. So I'm really glad we're talking about this. I think it's really important. And I've always said you can make a lot of money in business, but you can also make a lot of money selling them. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And right now there are so many baby boomers that are wanting to retire. They're wanting to sell their business. They're wanting to scale back. And I always say, wait, don't do that. Let's look at your numbers first, because maybe we need to push and work a little bit harder for 1, 2, or 3 years. And then you can sell it and you can maybe get a higher multiplier for your business. And that sometimes that's attractive. And they're like, oh, if I work harder for 3 years, I can double what I could sell this for. And I say, yes, that's quite possible that if you put a few things in place, then you could actually sell that for a lot more. And some people get it. Some people don't want to wait. And I get that. So we try to get them the best that we can for what they have right now.
Yeah. And I think sometimes though, people, they wait too long until they're just burned out. And that's just the wrong play. That's why you have to really think about things like this as proactive. You have to be proactive, just like you have to be in running your business. I just did a speaking presentation this morning to a group, and I was talking about most people are playing chess in their business, tactics, reactive, scattered. They're not playing chess. They're not strategic. They're not intentional. They are not proactive, and they're not moves ahead of everybody else. That's chess, right? You have to be moves ahead of your opponent. And so if you think like that, if you start thinking about how can I play a more strategic game here in business, not just while I'm running it, but even thinking ahead, you cannot, I mean, you won't even believe what you can build and what you can accomplish, because it automatically sets your mind and your actions on a very different course. Hi, friend. I have an exciting announcement. I hope you're enjoying this episode of Expert in You podcast, but I have to ask you, have you checked out the latest issue of Expert in You magazine yet? It's jam-packed with rich content, powerful strategies, inspiring stories, and so much more to help you elevate your business and personal growth. Don't miss out. Go grab your digital copy now and join our community of experts making a difference every day. Go to expertinyoumagazine.com and check out your digital copy today. Transform your expertise into success with Expert in You magazine. It's not just a publication, it is a movement.
I completely agree.
So, Samantha, what do you want people to know about you that we haven't talked about? So I don't want to leave anything out here. We've talked about building businesses and selling businesses, and you talked about some of the things you have to do from a marketing standpoint. What are some things that you would like to discuss that we haven't discussed yet?
So one thing about marketing is when I started my company 20 years ago, social media was not what it is now. It was traditional. It was TV, radio, billboard, press releases. So it was really quite different. I was getting people in magazines and getting article spreads put on them. I was getting them on TV. It was a big deal whether their logo was on their invoice, because it was like a 3-part form. So like marketing has completely changed in 20 years. Mm-hmm. We have digital
it's
invoices
changing every day.
Every day. So we have digital business cards. We have digital, digital brochures. We have websites. So it's completely different. So it is really hard for a small business owner to keep up with all of the social media and email blasts and the time that it takes to do that. So I recommend that A, they hire somebody to do that. B, they get an agency or somebody like me that can handle it as a third party. Or C, they learn how to do it themselves. And C is usually what they opt to say, but sometimes people are better at being a mechanic or a plumber or a roofer, or even a coach sometimes, than to do their own social media and their own email blasts, and trying to get themselves press releases and to get out on TV and podcasts. Some people are really good at doing that. But if your strength, and this is any area of business, if your strength is not marketing, right, then search out people who do marketing.
Yeah.
Get to know those people and find out what they suggest is the best things to grow your business. And then work with somebody who you feel comfortable with. I certainly can't do marketing for the whole United States of America. I don't have enough time in the day. But I think that there's a fit. Make sure that you mesh well with the marketing person that you're talking with, and make sure that they get a good feel of your vision and your mission statement so that they can portray you as you. You don't want them to I wouldn't hire a marketing company that treated all of their clients and showcased them all the same, because they're all very different. Mm-hmm. I had a mechanic that was in St. Charles County. It's a big town, but not a major city market. And, he's got a mechanic station, and he's got several employees, lots of bays, keeps it clean. And he did better with emails and text messages to remind people when to get their car serviced. Mm-hmm. And then I had somebody in St. Louis, which is a very busy city with a lot more cars and a lot more prospects for work. And he did better by giving away promotional products every time somebody did a service call. If it was hot, he'd leave them water bottles. If it was cold, he'd leave them a mint. And he did mailers, and he would actually have somebody in the office call them to remind them that they needed to get an oil change. So they're two very similar businesses, all had the same certifications, both really nice guys, clean shops, had enough bays that they almost were matched hand in hand, but there were two different geographical areas and their clients responded in different ways. So you have to know your market and you have to know your personality too. The guy in St. Charles was very serious, knew a lot about cars and could explain something to anybody like they were talking to a fifth grader and could explain what was wrong with your car. The guy in St. Louis was a crack up and he would just tell jokes all the time and he would make you have so much fun. You would want to come back and get your car worked on again. But was also very knowledgeable, but they had different personalities. So you have to market for those personalities as well. So you really have to get to know your clients if you're going to do marketing for them. But I would say that for anything, if you're not good with numbers, get an accountant. If you're not good with IT,
get an expert.
Get an IT. Get an expert. Yes, that's exactly what you are always talking about, the expert in you. Find those experts. If that's not your forte, you know, a lot of people have gone to even gotten business degrees and they maybe have taken all the classes, but maybe they're more better with the finances and the economics of a business and maybe not as good with the marketing. So find out what your strengths are and wherever your weaknesses are, go get help, go get a coach, go find an expert. And that's basically, you know, that's what I would say to any business owner.
And I want to add to that too. We don't have, first of all, you don't have enough hours in the day to learn everything there is to learn. You don't have enough hours to become a professional accountant if you're not an accountant. You don't have enough hours to become a professional marketer, which is changing. Literally, I do marketing for people. That is a big piece of what I do in their business. And I have trouble keeping up and it is my business. So you have no idea what, you know, first of all, just the strategic side alone, just like Samantha talked about. Well, they were in two different markets. They needed two different strategies. And most people don't know that. They try to do what their competitors are doing, which what happens then? You look just like your competitors and now you're cutting your prices and you're not getting and you're fighting for the business. You don't want to be fighting for the business. You want people to come to you because of who you are and how you're different. And you are the buyer, or you're the business for them. You're the business for that buyer. It just makes life easier in your business. And it also keeps everyone from competing in their market, and it helps them rise above their competition and really pull in the right people and attract the right people. But look, you don't know this, right? You probably didn't learn all of this. And even Samantha, I've even coached people that have marketing degrees that just because they learned this doesn't, until you put it into practice, actually do the work and work through and work with lots of clients and things, you don't know all this stuff. And you're not going to learn it in a book. You're not going to learn it in a book. It has to be application. But again, you don't have time to do all these things. You don't have time to be an expert at everything. We're so fortunate today that we have experts that can help us in any area of our business. That has not always been the case. I didn't have a business coach when I first started my business. I didn't even know what a business coach would have been, or a business consultant. They might have been around, but I didn't know any. And that went on for a lot of my businesses. So if I would have, that would have been a game changer. So you're absolutely right. Your faster path, your shortcut to higher success, and to even be around for a long time, to be sustainable and to be able to sell that business, is going to be to work with experts that can help you do things in the right way. And then you get to do the things that you're best at. But also know that when you're running a business, you have to become the CEO of that business at some point, and you don't always get to do the stuff that you started out doing in business. Your roles change. Really your identity shifts. I'm sorry, that was long-winded, but did you agree with all of that?
Oh, I agree with all of that. 100%.
So final words, Samantha, and then just tell everyone how they can get a hold of you.
So one thing I would like to offer real quick is, if a business is under $1 million in gross sales, I would love to give them my micro business valuation. It's just a quick, short report that they would get. We do certified business valuations. That's a big detail. If you're going to get a lender or something, you would need that. But you can get a quick synopsis. If you're over $1 million in gross sales, I have a scorecard that lets you know how ready you are to sell your business. And that's just 2 quick giveaways. They can reach me at 314-223-8822.
So we're just going to put all of your contact information in the show notes, but I do love that you're giving people the valuation tools. I think that's really great. And we'll make sure those links are included in the podcast so that people can go grab those. So thank you so much for being my guest. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
Yes. Everyone have an amazing day. And look, you don't have to run your business alone. You don't have to try to grow your business alone. There are experts out there. So take advantage of that. We've never had a better time to be in business. We've never had so much available to us. Quit trying to be a DIYer in your business. It won't serve you. It's going to cost you a lot of money, and it costs you a lot of lost money and lost revenue, really. To do that. So, all right, everyone, have an amazing day. God bless you. And until next time, make sure you subscribe to the show and share it. And we'll talk again. Bye-bye.
The content of this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Although I share strategies, ideas, and success stories based on real experiences, results are never guaranteed. Every business is unique, and outcomes depend on individual effort, market conditions, and many other factors. By listening, you agree that I and my guests are not responsible for your results or actions based on the content shared.
Thank you for tuning in today. If you're as excited as I am about scaling up your influence, business, and bank account, then I have just the thing for you. But first, make sure you subscribe to the show. Second, make sure you share it with someone you care about, because sharing is caring. And third, head on over to join me in my next free virtual exclusive workshop, where we'll explore proven strategies to boost your business and maximize your potential. Look, it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you're looking to take your business to the next level, my workshops are designed for you. So head on over to expertinyouworkshop.com to reserve your spot and get ready to transform your expertise into extraordinary success. I'm looking forward to seeing you there and helping you achieve incredible growth. Until next time, make sure you're always seeking the expert in you, and God bless. Have an amazing day.